I'm Jason Hupe. This is 5H Greenhouse in Wamego, Kansas. I always like the thought of being green and beneficial and not having chemicals on the plants, but the biggest challenge is controlling the bugs in a perfect climate where the reproduction of the insects are quadrupled. It just, goes straight up. We had done a little bit of beneficials in the very beginning with the hydroponic tomatoes, but you were a monocrop, so it's much easier to control in that setting. And then when you switch and get into growing poinsettias, fall mums, and then when you go to bedding plants and do A to Z annuals and perennials, it starts to become a nightmare because you have everything mixed and you're moving things all the time to get the perfect climate for whatever you're growing, or if you're trying to hold something or push something, so everything's moving around. So just the thought of being able to manage beneficials in that setting was, I figured it was next to impossible. We called Raymond and said that we are interested. He came over, and the next crop, as soon as we started poinsettias, was the next crop we were doing. We went into the biological. He came out and helped assess and everything, and it's just been pretty much flawless since then. Changing the beneficials is our biggest change. Everything else that we do is pretty much standardized. Every process that my dad's kind of put into place, I've just kind of followed his lead. If it isn't broke, don't fix it. But with the biologicals, the chemicals, it was just very irritating. I mean, you suit up, you stay late, you sweat in a rubber suit, you come in the next day, get it all put away and get your signs up to keep people out of certain areas, and then you wait 24 hours, you go in and there's still stuff flying around, moving around, and it's all supposed to be laying there backs, belly side up, and they're not. So biologicals are a little more pricey overall, but at the same time, my plant quality is better.
Biological control is not the same as picking up a container of safari, mixing and spraying. It's very proactive. In fact, a lot of times we're making releases before we see any pests, and that's the way it is. So the more you do in the front end, the less you have to do in the back end. That is like rescue treatments of insecticides, which defeats the purpose of using biologicals. So it's a very proactive. Scouting is important. Checking plants. These flag plants are the ones we scout for in here for the poinsettias. And then also conducting like a quality assessments that, when you get a shipment of biologicals in, you want to, make sure they're alive, because studies are out there to show that dead insects don't kill live insects. So basically, quality assessment ensures that what you're putting out there is going to be viable. So the goal is, in this case for poinsettias, is to get a cloud of parasitoids, in this case Erythromyces ceramicus, get them out there so they're locating whiteflies at low numbers and then attacking them, and then reducing the number of individuals in that population for the first generation. If you try to cut corners, you're going to suffer by having some problems with the outbreaks of pests. So we plan early. You order early from the company, get them in, release them, and then we do the quality assessment.
Right. I think that's why it just seems so simple, and like there is no structure, because there is structure and we do it, so therefore it's pretty much flawless, and it's better than what we did treating with the chemicals. So, which still blows my mind, but
And this is the fourth year in poinsettias.
Yep.
Third year for bedding plants and mums.
Yep.
So we've been doing this for 3 or 4 years now.
Yep.
With minimal insecticide inputs, if anything.
Very, very tiny.
Maybe some hot spots like last year. Lee mentioned we had those, and that outbreak last year was due to the fact that due to the quality assessment, we were not getting viable functional individuals. It was low. We were getting like less than 20%.
Right.
And so there were not enough parasitoids out there to attack the whiteflies and keep those numbers down. Consequently, we ended with this outbreak. And that's why quality assessment is critical to the success of a biological control program.
Without answers and information, you're just lost. So I mean, Raymond, his knowledge and obviously this is his profession and his wheelhouse, and to me, I'm just I grow plants and I don't want the bugs and I don't want the disease, and I didn't go to school for all of that. So to me, it's just pests problems, but to him, he understands it all, and it's just, yeah, it's invaluable. I don't even know. You're all right.
How much do I owe you? Extension is out there to be sort of a bridge between the actual research and then to the producers, because the research doesn't mean anything unless it's going to have an impact, change of behavior, implementation of practices, and that's what we're designed to do. So we take information either from our own research or others, and then utilize that to say, hey, why don't you try biological? There's information out there, it works, and I'll do everything I can to help you. And that's what we're here for. Extension is that ability to take research information, technical information, transpose it in layman terms, and get it implemented, because that's the impact. I mean, I don't know how much you've saved in no sprays overall, in chemicals.
Well, the headaches,
yeah,
and
right.
the sweat labor is worth a lot.
Yeah, I mean, when we're looking at no REI,
right.
no PPE,
right.
no staying late at night,
right.
no residues.
Right. Even
your dad said in letters that the crop with biological looks better and it's marketable. Saleability was even better.
It's a much higher percentage of marketability.
The quality is there because you're not bombarding them with these insecticides, basically, or fungicides, whatever, overall. So with the input just being the use of biologicals, there's less harm to the plant overall with the chemistry. So that's really, and from the cost basis, Jason mentioned maybe initial cost, but that's the direct cost, and that doesn't change because you've got labor and the purchase of material, which would be the same with the chemistry. Right. But it's the indirect cost, no personal protective equipment, no restricted interval, no resistance issues, no
sprayers,
no sprayer, no drift, no residues on the plants harmful to the workers or the customers and things like that.
Yeah. And the best thing is just to be able to tell the customers that you're insecticide, pesticide free. Especially if you're selling vegetable crops for people that grow in their home garden. It's reassuring to them to know that nothing's been applied. So, from this point on, it's on them. Up to this point, it's all been natural. And I think that's the value of that well outweighs the small increase. And I mean, I'm talking, maybe 2 or 3% more that we spent on biologicals versus the insecticides. And of course, then you got waste in insecticides because you got shelf life and you have to buy certain quantities to get it, and that's not necessarily the quantities that you're using. So it's kind of hard to measure, but I have a feeling that it's 100% worth it.
Producers out there, Jason and others can utilize extension. That's what we're here to do. Obviously, we can't go out all the time, but getting out of the office gets us familiar with what's happening in the trenches, and that's where we're going to have our biggest impact. Change of behavior, utilizing new practices. That's what's going to make the difference, basically.